welcome back to Susan Dawn Spiritual Connections. Welcome to a brand new Sacred Union Energy Update. This is the reading portion. I had not intended to channel as deep. I just wanted to do a recap of some of the messages and images I was receiving yesterday as I pulled the Liberation card here. But that's what came through, and it felt important. Oh, I forgot that I wanted to mention this too. Purification was at the bottom of the deck when I stopped shuffling after Liberation came out, and that's exactly what this feels like. It feels like this, it says emotional cleansing, rejuvenation. It feels like this rebirth, and again, that chipping away at the concrete in the masculine is chipping away at the soul sludge, chipping away at the dense energy, chipping away at old beliefs and old versions of yourselves, chipping away at the old so the new can be reborn. That's what this energy feels like. And so I like that we have purification at the bottom of the deck, because that is indicative of the process of ascension. Ascension is a purification process to return you to your true authentic self, which is soul. So that is in of itself our liberation. But let's get into a reading today and see what is it that we need to know for the masculine. Aside from that, what is the masculine's energy right now? What is it that we need to know for the divine masculine? This conscious divine masculine, what is it that we need to know when it comes to their journey? Oh gosh. I'm going to take them both. We have the eternal dance, movement, will of life, path of least resistance. And we also have the search, feeling lost, confused, and lonely. What I feel from this card is this illumination, and that's part of this liberation that I feel like this divine masculine is feeling. This illumination, where they were kind of stuck in the jungle of themselves, where they were stuck and lost and not sure what direction to go in, metaphorically. I feel like this is now a search for themselves, a discovery of themselves. Search is not quite the word that they're giving to me. It's more of a rediscovery of the self, and that's exactly what we were channeling here. It's this illumination that's coming through. I like the word movement, because I feel like that's what this is. It feels like movement. It feels like growth and expansion for this divine masculine. And now it's like through this rebirth, they are seeing where they were keeping themselves stuck, where they were caught in consciousness traps or consciousness loops, where they were stuck in victimhood, stuck in pain patterns, where they were keeping themselves stagnant. It feels like there is this expansion, this breaking free, this liberation, and now they are consciously choosing something different. We've been channeling this for years. I believe it's a Brene Brown quote. We've been channeling it for years, and I still cannot get who it is, and I cannot get the quote right. I believe it's a Brene Brown quote that said, it's only when, or maybe it's Liz Gilbert, one of the two. She said, it's only when we get sick of our own bullshit that we allow ourselves the transformation. We allow ourselves to begin to transform, but only when we get sick of our own bullshit. Well, I feel like this masculine had to hit rock bottom, tunnel down through that rock bottom, hit another layer of rock bottom. Like, it was like they kept punishing themselves. They kept keeping themselves stuck in this victimhood. They kept replaying old beliefs and patterns of unworthiness. And again, divine feminine, there was no amount of love that you could have given to your counterpart that they would have been able to see for themselves. Similarly, for you, that was your process as well. There was no amount of love or validation that somebody can give you unless you're seeing it for yourself first. There's no amount that you can receive without receiving it for yourself. You have to go through the process of unconditional love for yourself. You have to go through the process of honoring yourself, accepting yourself, connecting with yourself. Your connection to yourself is the biggest part of your ascension journey. So divine feminines, same with you. There's no amount of validation or compliments or love or support or security that your partner could give you, or anybody could give you. Unless you're giving that to yourself, you cannot fully receive it. You wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't be able to fully accept it, right? You have to be able to give that to yourself first, and that's what this ascension journey shows us. And so divine feminine, part of your journey has been, number one, giving that to yourself, recognizing that within yourself, remembering that within yourself, but also recognizing that you can't do your masculine's journey for them. You can't you can support, you can hold space for, you can help guide, but you cannot force, change, manipulate. That is not your role. That is not what you're meant to do. That is the distortion that you might have been in as the feminine, because the feminine has her own distortions that she has to heal and grow through. And so the masculine had to experience that themselves. Divine feminines naturally hold this light. She is naturally in tune with her intuition. She's naturally in tune with God's source. But she has to believe in that. She has to trust in that. She has to go through her own process of holding space for herself, love for herself, trust in herself. That's one of the divine feminine's main lessons in the journey, is to trust in herself. And so what they showed me once, a long time ago during a channeling, maybe for a client, was the divine feminine. It's like you're in the jungle, right? And the jungle is this spiritual awakening. Could even be a metaphor for life. But you're in the jungle, and the divine feminine, through her journey, she has learned to trust her path. That's part of trusting her own intuition. And so she might not be able to see so far ahead. She might not be able to see everywhere where she's going. She might not be able to see the destination, but she doesn't have to, because she trusts the next step, and her path is illuminated for her. She's in alignment with herself. When she's connected to herself and trusting herself, the path is illuminated, and she allows herself to just follow it. Again, she doesn't have to see that far ahead, but she trusts and has faith in her own inner knowing, trusts and have faith in the next step. That's her trusting and taking that guided action. That path is illuminated. Well, then there was the divine masculine. And the divine masculine had a machete and was kind of traipsing through the jungle trying to cut his way through, when the divine feminine was right here all this time. The divine feminine was like, here, this path is clear. If you just tune into your own intuition, to your own feminine energy. Because remember, masculine and feminines, you have both within you. And it's about connecting to both within you, aligning both within you. The divine feminine, for example, had to heal her own inner masculine, had to connect with and integrate the masculine energy within her of feeling safe, of security. Again, there's nothing outside of yourself. There is no amount of safety and security another person can offer you. You have to find that within yourself, or find that within yourself first, and then it's reflected back in your experience in another person. But you have to anchor that in and integrate that within yourself first. And so that's her own masculine energy. For the masculine, for example, it was trusting their intuition, following their heart, allowing themselves to express themselves without fear, without suppression. And so the divine masculine just had to get in touch with their inner feminine to connect with their feminine energy and see that the path was clear. Here they are struggling through the jungle. They're getting caught up in all these vines and these weeds and these plants, and it's a struggle because they are resisting themselves. They're not surrendered to the feminine energy. The masculine has to surrender to the feminine energy. So that's where they were. And you can watch back on some past Sacred Union Energy updates in our playlist. All of our readings are meant to be timeless. But now where they are is they're recognizing, hey, I was in resistance. I was in resistance to myself. I was in resistance to my own growth. I was making it harder than it needed to be. And a lot of that was because they were trying to do it from a very individualistic stance. I've got it all myself. I can do it all myself. Divine Feminine, you might recognize that. You might recognize that as you being kind of in your hyper independent mode. That's your masculine energy, the distorted masculine energy that had taken hold. And when the feminine doesn't feel safe or secure within herself, she will move into that hyper masculine role. I can do it all myself. I've got it all. I have to take care of it, so I will. That kind of energy. Been there, done that. We've all been there, done that. Well, the masculine was in that energy as well. They were in this individual aspect. They weren't seeing that it's two is better than one. They weren't seeing the support. They weren't seeing the love. They weren't seeing the unconditional aspect. And even if they were, that unconditional aspect scared them because it's not something that they were used to. Well, now through their journey, they're saying, oh, I was making it harder on myself than it needed to be. This is what I always wanted. What was being offered to me is what I always wanted, but I was just scared or caught in these loops or repeating pain patterns and pushing it away. I was resisting it, which means I was resisting myself. They're becoming aware of this. They might not have those same words, it might not be conscious like that, but they're becoming aware on some level of where that resistance was and what they were pushing away. And so part of this search is they are getting illuminated and rediscovering themselves. They too are going back to the beginning. What is old is becoming new again. They're going back to the beginning of themselves. I'm also getting a message that some masculines might actually be going back to the beginning of your connection in their mind and replaying everything from a new perspective, from a higher perspective. So rather than replaying scenarios in a place of pain, they're shifting their perspective to love and replaying scenarios and seeing things differently. They're interpreting differently. They're translating it differently. It's like when you have an experience, sometimes you're so caught in the pain of the experience when you're triggered that you're not able to see the opportunity that it's offering to you. Well, it's the same kind of scenario here where they might have been so triggered and they weren't being able to see what was being offered, the love that was being offered, the connection that was being offered, the path of least resistance that was being offered, the growth. And so it's like they're going back to the beginning and replaying in their mind. I'm just seeing a masculine up at night, right before they fall asleep, just kind of like not so much daydreaming, but just kind of replaying certain things that you might have said, certain experiences you might have had together. And rather than looking at it from a place of defense or from a place of pain or from a place of resistance, they're saying, oh, that wasn't what I thought it was. This conversation wasn't what I thought it was. Rather than being defensive, what would have happened if I had done XYZ? So there's certain experiences or conversations that they're replaying, and that's part of this consciousness shift that they're experiencing. So there's this rediscovery that's being experienced. I like that we have the words feeling lost, confused, and lonely here because this is what they have overcome within themselves. This is part of their rediscovery. This is part of the illumination where they might have felt this in the past. This is what they are shifting out of. So very interesting energy coming through. This whole reading is surprising. Let's see what's going on for the Divine Feminine. It's like the search for self, but it's not so much a search. It's again, discovering the art within the sculpture. It's discovering the soul within the human. That's what's happening here. It's a discovery. For the Divine Feminine, we have intuitive communication, silent whispers of the heart. We mentioned this briefly in the channeling, but it's about connecting to yourself. Yeah, thinking of you, loving thought, serendipity. It's about connecting within the heart. The more you're connected to yourself, the more you can trust your intuition. And the more you trust your intuition, and your gifts being one and the same, the more you can trust what it is that you're receiving. Whether that's from God's source, whether that's messages from your spirit team, whether that's your sacred partner, there is telepathic communication that is happening. There are messages that are wanting to come through. And what I'm getting is wanting you to connect to the heart space or within the heart space. With the thinking of you card, it's just, again, these symbols of illumination. I feel like you are very aware of your counterpart, but you might not be recognizing it as such, especially for the Divine Feminines who are at this higher heart ascension level of their journey where your connection feels organic, it feels natural, it doesn't feel separate anymore. It's just a natural part of you. Your connection is always part of you. I feel rather than like I have to connect or I have to do meditation or to connect, it's just a natural part of you so that you're able to receive the messages that are being sent. You're able to receive the energy. I feel like your counterpart is connecting with you. This could happen in dream state. This could happen in meditation. But meditation doesn't have to be sitting in a room. Meditation can be just the quiet, introspective, reflective moments that you're having. So your counterpart is connecting with you. And I feel like they are reminding you to keep connected within the heart space, because that is where the connection resides. And the more that you are connecting within the heart space, living in that place of union within yourself, the more that is going to be reflected in your outside world, because you are bridging that separation. You are recognizing that separation is an illusion. You're not relying on the external as a barometer for whether or not you're in union. Again, we've been talking about that for weeks now. And it's just a reminder that the external is not an indicator of your energetic journey. It's not an indicator of your connection with your counterpart. The external is a hologram. It's a reflection of the energy that you are embodying. So if you are embodying that love, if you are embodying that union, then that is where your external world will reflect. Now, it might not be immediate, but the more that you embody that love, the more that you embody that union, your whole physical world will shift, because your energy is shifting. Again, what is old becomes new again. Your counterpart is reminding you to create from that inner space, to create from that inner world. And I'm going to be doing a channeling tomorrow about Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary, and I keep getting Mary Magdalene with this energy reminding us to connect within the heart space, that the heart space is what is real. The energy within is what is real. To not give so much effort or so much evidence to the external world, that the external world is just old energy. It is the embodied energy that you are nurturing within yourself that is what is true, that is what is real. It's about connecting within. And so I feel like, again, you're having this telepathy, this intuitive communication, these sparks, perhaps even with regards to your counterpart, these sparks of knowing, these downloads, these insights, even just maybe blasts of love or connection, where you are being reminded that it's not outside of yourself. It's not external. Don't seek it outside of yourself. Don't seek it from a reading. Don't seek it from a psychic. Don't seek it from a text or a phone call. It's within you. Everything is within you. And so your counterpart is reminding you, because they are you. They are part of you. They are one with you. They are you. On an energetic soul level, they are you. And so that is where the connection is found. It's not found outside of yourself. It is connected and found within you. So that's what your counterpart is reminding you of, and that's what you're connecting to, Divine Feminine. You're connecting to the energy. We have the card at the bottom of the deck, peace, and that peace is your higher heart ascension. When you're anchored into peace, that in and of itself is your union. Peace is your union. When you come to that place of harmony, when you come to that place of balance, when you come to that place of oneness and connectedness within yourself, you feel that sense of peace. So keep connecting. And if you're having any difficulty navigating your journey, if you're experiencing struggles or triggers, that is what we're here for, either through our free resources, through our membership, through the one-on-one mentorship. Just feel free to reach out, because that's what we're here for, to help you break through and transform, to come to this place of peace. And for those of you who haven't been with me since the beginning, my whole channel is a story of my evolution. I have been there. I have been there. I know what it is like. And so when I say that I'm feeling this peace now, that I'm feeling this energy now, when I channel, it's through my own lens too. It's because I've been in that other energy. I've been caught in those consciousness traps. I was caught in that matrix of the journey. I was caught in all of that, in looking at the external and seeking the external. And when you shift out of that energy, everything changes and your connection changes. Bottom of the deck, we do have, as I split the deck, we have the masculine there showing up as well. So let's just get a little bit deeper and see what's going on for the Divine Masculine. What does the Divine Masculine want us to know? Doing things a little bit differently today. Let's just kind of check in and see, what does the Divine Masculine want us to know? November feels like an important month to anchor in and integrate energy. to embody new levels of yourself, to create those breakthroughs and embody new levels of yourself. Um, they're also pointing me to the number 11. 11's indicating, or 1's indicating new beginnings. 11 is also a master number, is what they just said. So it feels like November is going to be significant, maybe when it comes to unions or even just your own ascension journey, but don't take that lightly. Don't just focus on your sacred union. Your sacred union is a path of ascension. Your ascension is the journey. All right, what is it that we need to know? What do we need to know for the divine masculine? What does the masculine want us to know? Yeah. Page of Swords. I feel like there is this new beginning and clarity. Again, this illumination. And I feel like they are seeing things differently. They're shifting their perspective, which is going to change. It feels like almost everything. It's going to change almost everything for them. I feel like it is going to change the way that they view themselves, they view their life. It's going to give them insight and ideas into how to navigate and live their life. We've been channeling this message as well. I feel like there are some significant changes for these masculines where they are putting things into place, creating a strategy for their life. Strategy might not be the right word, but it feels like a plan. Maybe a plan for healthier finances. Maybe a plan for healthier relationships, more stability, more security, structure. It feels like just putting things into place just from this renewed sense of self and this new illuminated self. For some as well, there might be communication. Yeah, the Temperance card at the bottom of the deck for me is this union energy. It feels like harmony. It feels like balance. So there might be new communication or more communication that is healthier, more conscious, more balanced. Make sure that you are embodying your energy, divine feminine, connecting within the heart versus connecting from the ego. Okay, and that reunion and reconciliation channeling might be really helpful as you're coming into contact or communication with a counterpart. All right, what else does the divine masculine want us to know? Yep. Two of Cups and the Death card. I feel like I want to do it like this because I feel like it's a death of the old, the death of the old version, of the old energy, of the old connection, rebirth within the new or something new. There is this union energy. This is Two of Cups, is that union energy. So the Death card is also indicative of transformation, and that's exactly what this rebirth is. It's a transformation. That's what the death of the old is. Again, Kali Ma teaches us that you can't have a new beginning without an ending. And so in many ways, that's what separation is. I call separation an integration time. A separation isn't separation. It's not, it might look like a physical distance or a no contact or no communication, but energetically, you're always connected within the heart space. Again, that's what your counterpart is trying to remind you of. That's what you're connecting to, divine feminines. And so your counterpart is reminding you that connections transform if you allow it that space, if you give it that space. And so that's what's possible here. An ending creates a new beginning. You have to end the old cycles, the old consciousness loops, the old pain patterns, the old traps, the old triggers. In my book, I have a metaphor of being in a boxing ring. And that might be what it feels like when you're triggering each other. The mirror's going back and forth, ping, 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 right? Going back and forth, reflecting off of each other. Well, you have to go to your separate corners. You have to kind of stop the fight, go to your separate corners and recalibrate. Well, boxing ring in this sense might not be an adequate metaphor, but you're still energetically connected. You might just have to spend some time apart. It might look like separation, but it's just an integration time. So that's what this energy is indicating. It's indicating that the divine masculine, I'm hearing, wants this too, is ready for the transformation of the connection. And that's part of their ascension, is they are going through their own transformation so that the connection itself can transform. The question I'm hearing, divine feminine, is, are you going to allow it? For the past couple of weeks, we've talked about needing to let go of the past version of yourself, past version of the connection, past version of your counterpart, in order for the new to come in. Again, the title of the channeling and the reading today is What's Old Becomes New Again. But will you allow it? Will you surrender to that? Will you be in a place where you can hold space for that, to allow yourself to receive that? Or is your fear going to take hold and keep repeating the new? Are you going to connect to your heart, or are you going to connect to the pains and patterns of the past? And you be the judge for yourself of what the energy is. You trust in yourself and your intuition so much, and you're connected so much to yourself that you know the difference. You can have that discernment. I always say, trust in the energy. Actions, words have to align, but the energy is what is going to tell you. It's what's going to inform you. Trust your intuition based on the energy that you're receiving. Okay? Again, reunion, reconciliation. Make sure you're checking out that channeling. Divine Feminines, what is it that we need to know for you? What is it that we need to know for the Divine Feminines? Yep, you have to let the past be in the past. You have to let yourself walk away from the past if you're going to walk towards your happiness, towards your fulfillment, towards your union, essentially. What comes after the Eight of Cups is the Nine of Cups and the Ten of Cups. So the Nine of Cups is kind of like this Nine of Pentacles, where it's like self-fulfilled, independent, self-sufficient. You have to cultivate that within yourself first, because you have to cultivate your inner union first. You're not seeking outside of yourself for that. You are creating your own healthy self-concept. You are creating within yourself what it is that you want to see reflected. And then the Ten of Cups is partnership, it's family, it's relationship, it's love, it's that union reflected outside of yourself. So you have to allow yourself to walk away from the past version of yourself, your connection, and your counterpart. All right, what is it that we need to know? It's too many. What do we need to know for the Divine Feminines, please? We have the Nine of Wands and the Eight of Pentacles. Yeah, the Nine of Wands is you have been through a battle, but shift your focus and shift your perspective. It's actually mirroring a message that we received for the Divine Masculine, isn't it? Divine Masculine shifting their perspective, that Page of Swords message, seeing things differently. Like almost like replaying their journey differently, seeing things from a new conscious state now, where they might have interpreted something in one way, seeing things from a different perspective. I feel like it's the same for you, Divine Feminine. With the Eight of Pentacles here, it's like shifting your focus is the word that I'm getting, where you might have been so focused on your counterpart, almost like bringing your perspective to a wider stance and seeing that your counterpart is not the crux of the journey. Your own soul growth is the heart of the journey. And your counterpart is that catalyst. Your counterpart is that mirror for you, reflecting that growth, reflecting that ascension. And so it's almost like what I'm getting from the Nine of Wands here is looking at the past version of your journey with a sense of weariness, even with a sense of, look what I've gone through, with a sense of I don't want to replay that past anymore. And the only way that you do that, the only way that you don't replay the past, is by shifting within yourself, shifting your perspective and shifting the focus. So there might be some of you who are still kind of focused on that past or that past version, or what you thought the journey needed to be. It's about shifting your focus to the present, shifting the focus to your own internal journey. And that is what's going to reflect your external world. Okay? All right. We have a full moon coming up. So let's see. Full moon? New moon? Pretty sure it's a full moon. Let me double check. New moon. New moon in Scorpio coming up. So let's go ahead and get a message of guidance for both the masculine and the feminine. Divine Masculine. I'm also getting this message of, as you kind of go through this rebirth within your connection too, there's that sense of liberation there. You've gone through a major journey and it was a difficult one. But as you move into the higher heart ascension, it becomes clear, it becomes harmonized, it becomes balanced, it becomes joyful. And those energies are all very freeing. Those energies, those higher frequencies, have this sense of liberation about it. And that's where you're going to create the next stage of connection. All right, Divine Masculine. What guidance do we have for Divine Masculine? Guidance for the Divine Masculine. Meditate and contemplate. Yeah, that's this discovery kind of energy. I feel like they've been in this kind of hermit energy. It's not hermit as in hiding away. It's hermit as in reflection. And I feel like that's where the Divine Masculine is. And I feel like that's where they're going to stay for a little bit. The Page of Swords is a cerebral card. It's in their thoughts. And I feel like that's where they're kind of going back over the journey, going back over their connection with you, going back over their life, who they are, who they want to be. It's almost like they're creating and manifesting, envisioning their future life by going back to the past and deciding through the contrast of that what they don't want to experience anymore. They're breaking free from all these pain patterns and consciousness loops. They're discovering themselves. They're being illuminated to their true authentic self. They're seeing the beauty of their soul. They're seeing the beauty of who they truly are, their authentic self, versus what they thought they needed to be or what everybody else wanted them to be. And this is opening up a whole new life for them, a whole new vision for them. So they're in this kind of reflective mode. So I feel like they're in this meditate and contemplate reflective mode here. Keep doing that, Divine Masculines, because that is actually what is going to help you kind of rewrite your story and turn the page for a new story. Divine Feminines. What do we need to know for the Divine Feminines? We have a time for healing. Yeah, it's very reflective. You guys are mirroring each other. You guys are like right in alignment. I feel like the healing isn't necessarily a energetic healing, like healing modalities and stuff like that, although it could be. I feel like this is more like a time of peace, a time of just time for yourself, a time for self-nurturance. That's what this feels like. It doesn't feel like active healing like you might have done in your journey in the past, like doing all the regressions and the journalings and the energy healing modalities and stuff like that. This feels like more like self-nurturance, loving yourself, spending time with yourself, keeping the focus on yourself, not in like a selfish way, but just in I'm giving to myself now. That's what this feels like. I'm giving to myself now. I'm honoring myself. That's what this healing energy feels like. It feels like a self-honoring. And so there's a very reflective kind of energy here for both of you. What do we need to know for the union? What do we need to know for union energies, please? What do we need to know for union energies? Take time to breathe out. Yeah, this reflective energy, this calming energy, this being in kind of like this receivership, allowing yourself to receive love. For the Divine Feminines, receive that connection with your counterpart. Feel that within your heart space. For others, it could be receiving from the universe, receiving from God's source. For Divine Masculines, it could be receiving support, mentorship, guidance, from maybe even unlikely resources. We've been channeling that the Divine Masculines have been experiencing their spiritual studies, could be books, podcasts, community, about receiving, allowing yourself to receive. Okay? All right, that is going to be it for today's Sacred Union Energy Update and channeling. It felt like a biggie. We will be back soon with new channelings. I'm going to be doing some sacred channelings and some membership channelings, but we'll be back with the Sacred Union Energy Update again, probably maybe this weekend. We'll do a mini reading or a mini checking. So make sure that you're staying tuned. I'm sending lots of love and lots of light. Let me know if this resonates, and we'll see you next time.